Music fades, curtain goes up, and we're ready to begin. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Parlor for our February 4th installment. That's right. Glad to be here. And if anybody has any requests, well, get them in while you can. I got a whole bunch of requests here, so let's just get to it. Let's start with an Isham Jones tune that celebrates its, 1924, so this would be second year now in the public domain. Here's a request from my pal Tanner. This is It Had to Be You. It had to be you, it had to be you. I wandered around, finally found somebody who would make me be true, would make me be blue, or even be glad, just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might try to be cross, try to be boss, but they wouldn't do. For nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. You're welcome. All right, we're off and running with our first request there. I'll do it after this because we also have some folks joining us from the Facebook group, the Al Bowley Society. Yes, if you're not hip to that, check them out. But here's a nice little tune for you that Al recorded, and not too many people did, but he had a great version of it with Ray Noble. Here it is, a little tune called June Time is Love Time for Everyone But Me. Hey, Joe. June time is love time for everyone but me. Tell me why, oh moon up above, why can't I find somebody to love? Sweethearts around me are happy as can be, but June time is love time for everyone but me. me. Tell me why, old moon up above, why can't I find somebody to love? Sweethearts around me are happy as can be, but June time is love time for everyone but me. Ah, it's a double ending night. Well, there we go. So you got it. And Amy Bishop wanted to hear some music from Amelie. So I can kill two birds with one proverbial stone and do a little French tune from Amelie. Let the vocalist take a rest and let the orchestra take it. Here's a pretty little pop tune recorded by Freyhel, who was sort of, easy for me to say, forerunner to Edith Piaf. This is one called Si tu n'étais pas là. Hi, Eileen. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Jeanette. We got Minnesota and New Zealand. Well, there's a pair. Welcome. We'll get some Irving Kaufman on for you here in a minute, Jeanette. Ah, si tu n'étais pas là, some French music, Frenchified music, as Ian Whitcomb would say. And as I live and breathe, Bubba Hernandez, how are you? Boom! Bolabo, bolabo, all my heart is beating fast. Fought across the deserts and you come to claim my love at last. Neath the palm trees, my soul is aching, foot on is breaking, and I just passed. Bolabo, bolabo, I have waited long for you. At the weary days we'll meet again, neath Egypt's sky so blue. Many long days have I been yearning for your returning, my love is true. Oh, bolabo, bolabo, carry me to Cairo, where Oriental breezes blow on our way, day by day. Let us drift a while down the dreamy Nile, bolabo. Lullabow for my friend Bubba. We'll call it Bubba Bow. But there's an Oriental Foxtrot for those of you that may not know that tune. And true, it was really more like a one-step if you really dissect it. But, you know, that's like so many sheet musics. They either would say waltz or foxtrot. And, of course, the Oriental Foxtrot was kind of what came in after ragtime. I saw a request for Maple Leaf Rag. I'll get that on for you. But, yes, the Oriental Foxtrot was sort of what the American composers came up with after years and years, quite literally decades, of getting comfortable just writing songs and putting rag or ragtime two-step or something at the end, because of course what goes up must come down, and ragtime, which had reigned for over 20 years, finally took a back seat to other kinds of music starting around 1917. And of course jazz was the biggest one, but then of course there are all these other kind of things floating about, like musical orbs out there, and one of them was called the Oriental Foxtrot, and it was basically where they took songs that would have like a two beat, in other words your foxtrot, but oftentimes in the verse usually they would put sort of a kind of Eastern motifs. So yes, the Oriental Foxtrot. Yes, Bridget, Foxtrot. Foxtrot. We'll leave it at that. It's a family show. Order the button from Bridget if you want to know. I mentioned Maple Leaf Rag, and we had a request for Maple Leaf Rag, so let's do it. That's not in the music. Just like I rehearsed it. There we go. All right, that is called Indifference. Indifference. When I take my sugar to tea, all the boys are jealous of me. So I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. I'm a rowdy dowdy, that's me. She's a hi-hat baby, that's she. So I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. Every Sunday afternoon, we forget about our cares, rubbing elbows at the Ritz with the millionaires. When I take my sugar to tea, all the boys are jealous of me, 'cause I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. When I take my sugar to tea, all the boys are jealous of me. So I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. I'm a rowdy dowdy, that's me. She's a hi-hat baby, that's she. So I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. Every Sunday afternoon, we forget about our cares, rubbing elbows at the Ritz with the millionaires. When I take my sugar to tea, all the boys are jealous of me. So I never take her where the gang goes when I take my sugar to tea. When I take my sugar to tea. When I take my sugar to tea. This one's my favorite. It was recorded by Red Nichols and Frankie Trumbauer, and it had a lot of the same personnel in it. If you listen to the Frankie Trumbauer one, it had, or I'm sorry, the Red Nichols one has that great bass saxophone intro by Adrian Rollini. So yes, let's do it for you. This is one my dad requested, so always happy to play that. And when he requests them, I gotta play them. So here we go. Let's see here. Don't you know who she is? Looking right at me is sugar, my sugar. Talk about your kissing, that's what made me christen sugar, my sugar. The flowers kiss her feet Here's how the birdies greet. My sweetie, tweet, 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 which what does it mean? Ain't she sweet? See, the bees would not be buzzing round her if she wasn't sugar, my sugar. I declare that honey hadn't got a thing on her. No, sir. I forgot to mention, I bring to your attention, she's so refined. In conclusion, therefore, that is why I care for sugar. All right, a polka. Why not? Let's stick with this for a minute. No, actually, because Jeanette Walker's here all the way from New Zealand. How about them apples? Here's an Irving Kaufman tune I hope you like. He did this one with the Dorsey Brothers in 1930. On the OK label, they were masquerading as a group called the Travelers. So here we go. Everywhere I see a pair like lovebirds up in a tree. Baby, oh, where can you be? Moon above, it's time to love for everybody but me. Baby, oh, where can you be? It seems an eastern breeze sighs through the trees, telling me don't be blue. Stars sympathize, guess they are wise, they kinda miss you too. Nights like this don't hold much bliss to one as lonely as me. Baby, oh, where can you be? My best Kaufman. All right, Irving Kaufman, yes, doing that with the Dorsey Brothers, i.e. the Travelers, on their OK record. That's supposed to be one of their most popular OKs, so I'm hoping I can find it. So if you don't have PayPal, if you don't have Venmo, but you have a copy of the Dorsey Brothers doing Baby, Oh, Where Can You Be, you can just forget the middleman. Cut out the middleman. Just send that record straight over here. Or any other Irving Kaufman tunes. Or, hey, if any of you are watching and you're cleaning out the basement or the attic and you've got one of these old accordions sitting around and you don't want it anymore, forget all that nonsense. Just send me the accordion. That's true. It's like, you know, it's everywhere you want to be. What more can I say? And I'll even fix it up and get it running again. But it'll be mine. You can't have it back. All right. Well, let's see. Let's do another Irving Kaufman tune. Irving Kaufman was a great vocalist, actually born this month on February, what is it? I should know this. February 18th is some other people's. I want to say he's like the 16th. He's somewhere around there. Anyway, so Irving Kaufman's birthday. Maybe I'll do an Irving Kaufman birthday show. How about that? Well, Irving Kaufman sometimes would use his crooner voice, like on that record, or sometimes he'd be a little more out front with his voice. And Irving Kaufman was actually hired to record a series of music hall tunes on the rare Thesaurus 78 record label. And it was a project to record a bunch of turn-of-the-century and 1910s music hall tunes, and they needed a vocalist, and I think it was done in the late 40s, 47, 48, and they needed a vocalist that would still be true to the style. And some of them, of course, were gone by then. Some of them were kind of played out and couldn't sing anymore. But Irving Kaufman, not only was he still around, but he still had a great voice, and he hadn't even suffered a heart attack yet at that point. So he was in good spirits. So they got him in the studio, and they recorded about, almost about 10 sides with him. It could be more. I could be wrong. But anyway, I'll do one of those that they did, and it's a reviving of an old tune called By the Sea. Joe and Jane were always together, said Joe to Jane. I love sunny weather, so let's go to that beautiful sea. Paddle along, say you're with me. Anything that Joe would suggest to her, Jane would always think it was best for her. So he'd get his board, holler all aboard, gee, I wanna be by the sea, by the sea, by the beautiful sea. You and I, oh how happy we'll be. When each wave comes a-rollin' in, we will duck or swim, and we'll float and fool around the water, over and under and in up for air. Ma is rich, Pa is rich, so now what do we care? I long to be beside you, side beside the seaside, by the beautiful sea. Joe was quite a sport on a Sunday, though he would eat at Child's on a Monday, and Jane would lose her millionaire air and go to work marshalling hair. Anything that he'd leave his wife at home, say it's business, honey, I got to roam. Then he'd get his board, holler all aboard, gee, I wanna be by the sea, by the sea, by the beautiful sea. You and I, oh how happy we'll be. When each wave comes a-rollin' in, we will duck or swim, and we'll float and fool around the water, over and under and then up for air. Ma is rich, Pa is rich, so now what do we care? I long to be beside you, side beside the seaside, by the beautiful sea. I love a girl named Madeline, I know she loves me too, 'cause every night the moon is bright, we ride in my canoe. And midnight on the river, I hear her father call, but she don't care and I don't care if we get back at all. When I'm paddling Madeline home, gee, when I'm paddling Madeline home. First I drift with the tide, then pull for the shore. I hug her and kiss her and paddle some more, and I keep paddling Madeline home until we find that spot where we're alone. Well, she never says no, so I kiss her and go. Paddling Madeline, sweet, sweet Madeline, paddling Madeline home. Paddling Madeline. Mr. Kaufman to, let's go to the other side of the pond and celebrate Al Boley. There's a wonderful Facebook group called the Al Boley Society, and I recently joined, and man, if you want to hear Al Boley tunes, they're always posting good ones I'm not even familiar with. He recorded over 1,200 sides, so I mean, it's a big catalog, so no wonder that we couldn't hear them all. So, and we're still hearing new ones, at least this particular accordion player is. So I'm going to do a tune Boley recorded a little bit later in his career. A tune was written in 1937, so that was kind of getting to be a little bit past his time. Boley was really popular 31, 32, 33, 34, and then around, 1935, 36, that's when this big guillotine falls. And it's like everything from before then kind of went out of style, and everything after came into the vogue. Like, for example, the banjo and tuba went right off to the pawn shop, Or if it was Philadelphia, they just became mummers. But of course, were replaced by guitar and upright bass, and singers that were the older style were replaced by, Frank Sinatra, and of course, Bing Crosby was really, really coming into his own at that point. So older guys kind of got forgotten. Then there were the people in the middle, like Boley, that were able to kind of walk the line for a little bit. Yes, let's do a tune written in 1937. I first heard this actually only about a year ago. I was working with Joseph Rubin at a concert, and it was a Hal Kemp show, and he did the Hal Kemp arrangement, had a lovely female singer. That was my favorite parts of the show, standing backstage, hearing her sing. So thanks, Joseph, for including this little tune in your show called They Say. They say you have no lips for a fool such as I. They say you just believe in hello and goodbye, and to think that the one I admire isn't even remotely concerned that I'll go on playing with fire until I have learned my heart has been burned. They say I mustn't dream of your face in the moon. They say all of my dreams will be nightmares too soon. Let them talk, let them think what they want to. If it makes them feel happy that way, I know I'll always love you no matter what they say. There we go. That's a pretty little ballad there called They Say. And it sort of has an older feel to it. Maybe that's why I like it. As modern and new as that song is, maybe that explains it. Maybe that's why. It just has those good old chords to it. A lot of Fats Waller tunes were kind of like that. Tunes he was writing in the mid-1930s felt like they could have been a good 6, 7, 8 years earlier. This is one. I'm by myself, high on the shelf, I'm all alone and blue. It's so aggravating, always got me waiting, sitting up waiting for you. I'm alone, I'm growing thin, old rocking cherries do. And it's awful waiting, so infuriating, sitting up waiting for you. If I keep up these hours, I'll soon waste away. I'll be getting flowers every decoration day. That ain't right, night after night, to do me like you do. Always got me waiting, it's so aggravating, sitting up waiting for you. that's a Fats Waller tune you don't hear near often enough, called Sitting Up Waiting for You. But yeah, those Waller tunes, they just kind of, in the bridge. So very much, even though it's very much in the beginning of the swing era, it's right at home with the earlier style too. That gotta love Fats Waller. And if I look out my window here, I can see the old Crosley building, the Arlington Avenue plant. That's right. Well, they pumped out radios and little tiny cars and all sorts of things. They also had a radio show that went on at midnight every night, and Fats Waller actually had a residency there. It was called Moonlight Memories, and he actually played the organ over the radio here in Cincinnati. WLW 700 was the number, and I just love that. I love that. So I feel like Fats is in the neighborhood. And Al Boley had some great tunes. Here's another one he did with, this was on a Durium, those little cardboard hit of the weeks, the Durium Dance Band. So Joe, if you're listening, Joe Bosom is Mr. Durium. He's got more Durium 78s of more than anybody I know. So here's a neat little tune Al recorded called, Was That the Human Thing to Do? Let's see if I've got the B-flat. That's right. How's B-flat with all you guys? All right. I'll put it here. Never thought that anyone in their right mind could ever treat another human so unkind. Didn't you sneak away and leave a note behind? Was that the human thing to do? Always thought that yours was such a heart of gold, but after I was sold on all the tales you told, how you let your kisses go from hot to cold, was that the human thing to do? Now I'm not trying to patch things up, what's been done must be. Lord, I wouldn't even treat a pup the way you treated me. How could anybody be so darned unfair? You let me hang around till I learned to care. Didn't you even laugh and leave me crying there? Was that the human thing to do? All right, was that the human thing to do? La Mer. And unfortunately, French is a very hard language for me. And bear in mind, I can sing in Polish. So that being said, French just never came easy to me. Never mind, I took 2 years of this silly stuff. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I will keep my mouth shut and play La Mer. All right, La Mer. You know, speaking of Ted Lang, I'm actually talking a little bit with him and Molly. I'm hoping to come back up there and do another show with them. They sent me actually Molly forwarded an email, very kind to say. It was actually an email she forwarded me that was sent to her of somebody asking, hey, when's Matt going to come back? So if you're out there and you're watching and you sent that email, hey, thank you so much. I'd love to get back up there. She and Ted are both super, super people, and I love them so much. Ted is my unofficial tech support. In fact, I was talking with him earlier today. Wouldn't you know? You should mention the Object of My Affection, Joe. That's actually a tune that I have coming up a little bit later. So how about them apples, as they would say? Well, we should do another polka here. After all, we do have some polka nuts out there, polka heads out there. So let's do a good old-time Czech polka. This is one called Drataník, or Tinker. Thanks, Tamara. Hey, Frank. The Tinker Polka, or Drataník, as its original Czech title. And yes, indeed, Sandy has a good point. If you're enjoying the tunes, you can visit my online tip jar. You can find me at paypal.me/Matt Tolentino or on Venmo, Matt-Tolentino-1. There you go. Or like I said, if you have any Irving Kaufman records, you can send those to me too. Or any old accordions that you don't want sitting around your house, send those too. Well, I do love those polkas. Let's do a nice waltz. This is a tune. Actually, this is an interesting tune. It's a Polish waltz, and it's had a million different titles. I know it as the Westphalia Waltz, but it's popular with polka bands. Excuse me. What's in that water? It's popular with polka bands. A lot of old-time bands, string bands would play it, and it's just one of those tunes. It's got a bunch of different titles. Bob Wills played it. And polka bands play. So here, I'll just play it for you. But it's an old Polish waltz, beautiful one called the Westphalia. Aw, thanks, Joe. I'm going to write or Irving Kaufman records up here. go, the Westphalia Waltz for our Polish friends. How about Breeze from Alabama? I don't know that one, Bill. You stumped the band. Cavern Waltz. I'll look it up, though. There we go, a Breeze from Alabama. And then we jumped all around. Well, we need to do a little old-time sing-along here. You'll need a piano for that. In the old music hall in the Bowery, at a table were seated one night a gang of young fellows carousing. To them life seemed cheerful and bright, when there at the very next table sat a girl who had fallen to shame. As the young fellows jeered and reviled her, till they heard an old woman exclaim, "She is more to be pitied than censured. She is more to be helped than despised. She is only a lassie who ventured down life's stormy path ill-advised. Do not scorn her with words fierce and bitter. Do not laugh at her shame and downfall. For a moment just stop and consider that a man was the cause of it all." There's an old-fashioned church round the corner where the neighbors were gathered one day, where a parson was preaching a sermon for a soul who had just passed away. Guess who? 'Twas the same wayward girl from the Bowery, a life of adventure had led. Did the parson jeer her weakness? No, he asked for God's mercy and said, she is more to be pitied than censured. She is more to be helped than despised. She is only a lassie who ventured down life's stormy path ill-advised. Do not scorn her with words fierce and bitter. Do not laugh at her shame and downfall. For a moment, just stop and consider that a man was the cause of it all. Old time waltz there, the old stuff. That's called More to be Pitied Than Censured. That's what Rollini said. So here it is, Blue Skirt Waltz by Popular Demand. I wandered alone one night when I heard an orchestra play. I met you where lights were bright, people were carefree and gay. You were the beautiful lady in blue. I was in heaven just waltzing with you. You filled me with strange delight. Softly you stole away. I dream of that night with you, lady, when first we met. We danced in a world of blue. How could my heart forget? Blue were the skies and blue were your eyes, just like the blue skirt you wore. Come back, blue lady, come back. Don't be blue anymore. Czerweno sukinku nie radzę wziąć mam. Dnes večeri obleknu, až přijdeš chlapček nam. Sukinko pěkně lemovanou, zdobeno faličkama. A někdy nehuvadne láska mezi nama. There we go, the Blue Skirt Waltz, yeah. Good old Czech tune, and with the Czech waltz lyrics in the second time around that I know. Little girl, you're the one girl for me. Little girl, you're as sweet as can be. Just a glance at you meant love from the start. And oh, what a thrill came into my heart. Little girl, with your cute little ways, I am yours for the rest of my days. And this great big world will seem divine. Little girl, when you're mine, all mine. All right, that's called Little Girl. Little Girl. So. In heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here. And when we're gone from here, our friends will be drinking all our beer. In heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here. And when we're gone from here, our friends will be drinking all our beer. La 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 la. All right, by request in heaven there is no beer. Everywhere you go, sunshine follows you. Everywhere you go, sun are always blue. And little children love you, they seem to know that you bring roses out of the snow. The whole world says hello. Everywhere you go. Teeth like roses, teeth like the pearls, eyes with a heaven of blue. You are so perfect, one of the few. You wonderful, marvelous girl, I love you. Everywhere you go, sunshine follows you. Everywhere you go, suns are always blue. And little children, hey, don't go anywhere, Glenn, I got one for you. That you bring roses out of the snow. The whole world says hello. Everywhere you go. All right, everywhere you go. That was it. I'm going to feature that on the radio. And you played a historic recording of Silver Heels by an accordion player. Whose name escapes me. But anyway, so this will be a 2-for-1 request here. Joe asked for it, but Glenn, as long as you're out there, here you go. Silver Heels. Made it! All right, Silver Heels by request from Joe, and also Glenn, as long as you're in the audience, you had to jump. Someone asked for an old kit bag. I'm trying to remember. Back up your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. I wish I remembered. I'm sorry. But we'll stay on the World War I thing for a little bit here. So we'll stay in Old Gray Bonnet. Thank you, Vicky. Don't forget this one. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest gal I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly. Farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there. There we go. Songs from the Great War. World War I, yes. The war to end all wars, right? That's what they said. Zelena. Zelena to Zelena means green is green. It's about the green grass. So I like the tune. So if it's not the one you're looking for, well, it didn't cost you anything. I went to a place yesterday. I wanted to have something chrome plated, and they couldn't do it. They said, well, we'll buff it for you, and we'll do it for free. So if you like it, great. If you didn't, it didn't cost you anything. So here it is. Let's see if I've got it. This is Zelena sa Zelena, green is green. Nazera se trava, każde holke na jare. Pusturada dava, zelena se zelena, trava zelena. Como se nele to, musse zelena nisch, vat no tonen e muse spielt ma. Zelena se zelena, nazera se trava, każde holke na jare. Pusturada dava, zelena se zelena, trava zelena. Como se nele to, musse zelena nisch, vat no tonen e muse spielt ma.